Well, good afternoon. This is the Singer Merit that I was trying to correct the sluggish part of it. And in the course of taking it apart, I ended up taking the tensioner apart, which I didn't need to do, but I figured this would be a good tool to show you how to get that tensioner out of there. Now, you don't have to take it all apart like I did, but I took the top off, I took the back off, and I took off the cover for where the light is, just to see how to get this thing out of here. Well, there is a screw that goes in the front of the tensioner. I'm going to use my little red thing, because that seems to be pretty good to point things out. There's a screw that goes here, and then there's one that goes in the bottom of the tensioner. But then once you take those out, it's still in there. Well, it's not in there now because I've already undone the screw. So to get it out, it's tricky. Now, I've got this on an angle so that you can see right here, there is a little screw. Let me see if I can get this so you can actually see that little bad boy in there. And it is, let me see, I'm going to point. Okay, you can't see it. Let me see if I can adjust this a little bit better. So you can see that little guy in there. See if I turn it this way. Nope, let me turn it the other way. Oh, I'm backwards. Okay, now you can kind of see inside there. Inside, there's this right here, right behind the tensioner. There is a screw in here. I'm trying to get.
Nice going up down the stairs easily. No pain.
Right there.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, go down all the way.
Cool. So it's here, and what I did was I perched this up here, kind of like show you where that little screw's at. And it's literally right down inside. I don't know if y'all can see it, but where the tip of that screwdriver is where that screw is. It's kind of hard trying to figure out a way to show these things sometimes, but it's there. You have to have your needle arm all the way up. Then you can unscrew that little screw, and then your tensioner will come right out. Now, tricky thing is, if you don't if you don't take it out and catch all the pieces, because when you first popped this out, this thing fell out and it fell all apart. It literally did. So I suggest for anyone who's, starting to do this on their own or whatever, take a photograph of it together before you undo any screws. Okay? There are other machines where you'll have a set screw on the side, but it does not release this bar, this main shaft. It doesn't release it. So this is how it looks assembled. Totally assembled. Okay, you have this piece that goes right up against the sewing machine. It fits here. The two holes line up. I mean, you can, let me move this around just a little bit so you can see the front better, hopefully. So there's two holes here, and that's where this little guy goes. Okay. Whoops, sorry, that way. And you kind of can remember, because when you thread it, thread comes down, it goes behind here. Okay. So then next to that is this piece, and this sits basically here, because this hole, this little hole there, and that one have to match up for that screw to go back in there. Now, I don't know if this machine was already missing a third screw or not. It may have been. I remember unscrewing two. Where the third one is, or was, I don't know, but the two was holding it in place just fine. So then you're left with the spring part. Now, the spring part is kind of tricky because the discs have to go between this loop. As you can see, there's the spring, and the 2 discs are in it. So what you want to do is, when you go to put this back together, and I just took it apart. And look at that. You have this piece. These 2 have to go in it before you can put the shaft part through. And your discs do not go flat side to flat side, because that's the wrong way. You want them to where they're like this. So you have that gap. That's where the thread goes in. And those then go between there into that wire. So it goes just like this. And then on top of that is you've got this piece, which also has another thread guide in it. So that goes on top. Now, if you can remember, when you thread this thing, I gotta get my get that little guy in there. There we go. So when you thread it, if you recall, when you're threading your tensioner, it catches this, the thread comes up, and this little hook catches it. So as long as that hook is above your tension wire here, you're good. And then so it's in place, in the proper place where it's supposed to be. Then of course this goes on next, and that bar goes, if I can remember how I had this on here. Nope, because the thread has to go. I'm trying to visually remember. Okay, this way. Because this goes in here, the thread comes down. It's going to go there, under this, to go through the disc, come back up. And then this one goes here. And that little guy. I had to do this backwards before. So I had to put this up here first. And then this guy. Yeah, that's where that guy goes in. That's why there's no screw in that hole. Because that's where that little bar goes. Because the thread's going to come down here, come around, go up, catch this wire, get hooked, and then go up into the needle threader. So that's how it goes back inside. And then you go back in and you tighten the screw. But I'm missing one of these front screws. And when I took one out, this little nut came off the back. So that's going to be tricky to squirrel that back in there, because I'm going to have to figure out a way to hold it with my finger, because I can't get into the bottom part where that last screw is. So this must have come out of the top one, because I can actually put my finger in here and hold this in place for that top screw. So maybe that's all I need to do for now, but I'm still looking for the missing screw. So if you ever need to remove your tensioner, remember the order it goes back together. Take a photograph, take a shot, photograph, front, side, bottom, whatever helps you to make sure you put it back together. And it's that one little screw in there that holds this whole thing in there tight besides the front screws. So I hope this helps anybody out who's anticipating having to replace a tensioner. This is how you do it, and how you put it back together. You just want to make sure that you put it back in the same order. When I took it out, I also made note of where my dial was, because you don't want because you have your plus and minus. Make sure that when you take, like I had turned it almost back to 0, and so when I get it finally hooked back up in there, then it'll be all ready, the tension will be all ready to go to where it needs to go. So it's on the lowest, because there's like no tension on it this way. So I'm going to get this thing screwed back in here, and or maybe not, depending on if I get comments, asking more about it. I'm going to use this particular machine, I think, as one of my demonstrators for different kinds of things. But let me know your thoughts, and if there's something you would like to see how to do on a machine like this. And have fun sewing, and keep coming back because I'm making more videos as I go along. God bless everyone.